Hi, this is Kimberly Jackson. I am the team captain for the University of Hawaii at Manoa Library and Information Science web team. And today I'm going to be going over session 3 of editing your HTML ePortfolio. Okay, so by now you should have gone through the first two sessions where we downloaded the template from our UHM LAS web team website. And you should have learned also how to upload your files to your student server space. At this point, we want to actually go in and edit the files, so we're going to start out real quick with just editing some basic information on your first page. Your first page would be your index or your home page, and as best practice, you always want to name it index.html. You don't ever want to name it home.html because that can be really confusing for the setup, the structure of your website. Best practice is always to call it index. Okay, so first things first, you should go to your folder, open up your index page, and you should be able to see it like this. Um, just to preview it to see everything's there properly. Now you want to actually open it to edit it, so just right click on it and go to whatever editor that you're going to be using. It could be Notepad++ or Text Wrangler if you're using Mac. And mine's already open, so this is what your code looks like. And by now you should already know some basics about how HTML works, but if you don't, I'm going to go over it very quickly. You're going to have HTML, it says your open code here saying this is an HTML document, and you need to read it in HTML. So when it's displayed on the web, the web is going to read it as an HTML. So then you also have head. This is the head part of your page, and which is, you can see here the title. It's next, and the title is reflected here. So you can see that that text actually matches what's displayed. And then this link style sheet is the beginning of your container for your sidebar. So you can see a little bit lower here, it says container, and then it IDs the container as a sidebar. And that's what these are right here. Your sidebar is your side navigation. And you can see within the text of it, within the code, that it actually says each section. So courses, resume, projects, so on and so forth, home. All right, and it ends here. As you can see, it actually says end div sidebar, but the way that you can tell it also ends is it has this closing tag. So it has a side mark and then a forward slash. Excuse me. Now, as we go a little bit farther down, you're going to have a content section. So this is the divided section. That's what div ID, it's the ID container box for your body. And again, you can see the text matches this middle part right here, which is our main body, and it has the exact information as the website because it's, the code is displayed that way. Now, the first thing that you want to do is go through this and change the things that you can change, that you know how to change, which is, the name of the LAS portfolio, how you want your name displayed on the actual title, and these on the actual template are all in caps, so they actually look like this. I would suggest that you change it from all caps to lowercase because otherwise it looks like you're shouting. And also for the body, change this is a different name on our template. Put it in your name. And this is a paragraph tag. So this is a beginning paragraph tag, and this is an ending paragraph tag. So at this point, you want to start changing the actual content of it. I'm going to change it from what I have on my actual ePortfolio. So let's open that up. And I'm going to just select this text. There's a lot here. And you could be doing this from um, if you have typed out your information for your bio or for your portfolio, which you probably should do. You should think ahead about what kind of content you want to add, and put it in a .txt file. Don't type it in Word because when you do it in Word, it actually adds a lot of hidden codes behind that document. You can't see it, but there's a lot of formatting, and then when you paste it into your template, it might actually mess some things up. But if that's all you have, that's fine. You just might have to do some extra formatting. But try and do it in a basic text program like Text Wrangler or Notepad++. So I'm just going to select this paragraph here because that's where I want to actually enter in my information. Now if I go back and take a look, this right here is a single line and it has a break at the end, but I'm just going to get rid of this whole section. So let's take a look at that. So you can see the break code right there. So I'm just going to paste and I'm going to get rid of that information. Now I'm getting rid of the paragraph opening and all the breaks and the closing paragraph code. I'm also going to get rid of this email because I don't need that. And I'm getting rid of this other extra content because it's just basically telling me that I can add all these different features if I want. And I don't want to delete that closing content tag. It's a div tag. And what that does is it divides the content. So that's the end tag, and you want to make sure that stays there. That's very important because otherwise the HTML is going to be confused because you're going to have an opening div, but you won't have a closing div. You always have to have an opening tag and a closing tag in HTML. Okay, and now I want to actually change my footer because the footer is really important. You want to keep your copyright there, but change from library student to your name. I can type my name, and then update the year, and everything else looks good. So let's go ahead and save it, and try to remember to constantly save your changes because these older programs like Notepad++ and Text Wrangler, they're very simple programs, and they don't save regularly or automatically like Word does. So remember to always save your work. Okay, so now that I've updated that, I'm going to take a look to see what it looks like. So wow, you can see there's a lot of information. I'm going to have to go through and actually make paragraphs in there because as you can see I just copied and pasted it. It's very basic, but it looks very nice in the sense of the sidebar looks a little bit better because it's not shouting, and also my copyright is updated, and it shows that the page was actually updated at this date and that time. That's code that's automatically in there. You don't want to go back and edit that. Okay, so let's go back and add some paragraphs. Okay, so since there's quite a bit of text in here, I'm going to find a way to add some breaks. Now what I did there was I just did a break at the end of the sentence and one in between the next paragraph. And I can kind of see a little bit where the formatting was, so I'm going to try and just, do my best. And just so you know, the break code is one of the only ones where you don't actually have to have an opening and a closing tag, but generally speaking, you're always going to see that for HTML, is that it's going to have an opening and a closing. All right, so let's save this real quick and see what it looks like. Okay, so as you can see here, I have a few paragraphs now. It's still quite a bit of information. So what I would suggest is actually, let's save this as our About Me page. So I'm going to do a file, save as, and change it to About Me, or even bio would be fine. And it's automatically HTML. It's very important. Don't save it as a TXT. It has to be HTML. And then what I'm going to do is go back to my index page. Let me close this real quick and go back to my index page. Okay. Let me actually open it in Text Wrangler. And I'm going to change this so that it just says welcome to my ePortfolio. I'm going to make it very simple. Now, when you're doing this, make sure you take some time to think about just maybe one paragraph of what you can add to make it kind of stand out a little bit. Describe yourself very quickly in a very short manner, and to make it interesting and draw people in and want to find out more about you. Now, what I just did was I just added, let me just do that again and show you. I want to add another page because I just had that bio that I want to add in, because mine's more detailed. So I'm going to copy that code because we know that this is our sidebar, it's our navigation bar. So I'm going to copy it, and what I'm going to do is actually change it to bio and change the name of it to About Me. So now we're going to have an extra section in our index showing About Me, and it's going to link to my bio page. Now, the only issue with this is you have to remember that if you want this to show up in every single page, you're going to have to copy that whole section from the very beginning to the end of the div and add that to every single page that you work in. So now your template will reflect those changes on every single page. I'm going to save that. And I'm going to open our page to see what it looks like. Okay, so as you can see here, now I have an About Me section of courses, resume, projects, and an ePortfolio. And when I click on my About Me, it actually shows up, so that's great. But as you can see here, I have to go back to the About Me page in the code, and I have to now update that to make sure that my sidebar actually shows up correctly. So let's do that very quickly, and then what we'll do is upload these pages and see what it looks like. So we're just, remember, we copied everything from the beginning to the end of that div. So now it has the About Me. Can I close? Yes, we want it to save. All right, let's refresh it, and there it is. So now we want to upload it to the server space. So if you're using Mac, you're going to go to Fugu, and if you're using a PC, you're going to open your shell. You want to go to uhunix.hawaii.edu. You should already have a profile. Mine doesn't have a profile saved, but yours probably does. Once you're connected, you want to open up the area where all your files were previously saved. This is your remote side again, and this is your desktop for your computers. It says local, and then this is Unix remote section. So I need to find my ePortfolio files. And the only ones that I updated were index and the bio, the About Me. So I'm just going to drop and paste those over. Make sure I did it right. Overwrite all. Yes, I wanted to overwrite. Now I'm going to reload it because I want to make sure everything is up to date here. And now I'm going to test it to make sure it actually shows up online. So you want to test it by going to your www.hawaii.edu/tilde and then your username. So now that I've refreshed it, sometimes as you saw, it won't show up exactly, won't show up correctly yet. It takes a few seconds for the server to catch up with what you're doing. So now it says, just welcome to my portfolio. I should have another paragraph in there describing what it's for, but I have an About Me section, as you can see. And in my About Me section, I have the navigation correct and everything. So you're going to have to add that navigation or change the navigation features for all of your pages. So the best thing to do is best practice is to actually do all the changes that you want in your index, and then you copy and save that page for each different page that you want. So you create an index, and then you do File, Save As, About Me, File, Save As, Courses, File, Save As, Resume, File, Save As, Projects. And that way every single page has the same exact formatting and all your HTML is correct. Now, since the template is downloaded from our site, you're going to have to do a lot of little changes on your own to make sure it's the way you want it to be. Now, one last thing before we sign off, I'm going to show you our CSS page. It's our cascading style sheet, and the cascading style sheet will tell you what different types of fonts and colors and things that you're going to be using for all your pages. This is just basically, it's a template that instructs the rest of the pages on how to look. So in our next lesson, we're going to learn how to change the features. I'm just going to open it up in Safari so that you can see what it looks like. But as you can see here, the background color is defined, the container color, width, margins, padding, font sizes, and everything is defined. The banner, the content shows what kind of font size the margin size, the background color, the sidebar color, how the URL is going to look, and also your footer. Now, since there's not a lot of stuff here, it makes it even easier because it'll make it really easy to change. So for lesson 4, we're going to learn how to change the colors. And I hope that this was very instructional for you and that you're well on your way to developing your ePortfolio. If you have any questions, you can email us at uhliswebteam@gmail.com. Thank you.